The last thing, of course, the teaming agreement, if you are going through the trouble of putting one together and talking to your prospective partner, is how will the relationship be structured? And to that end, we think that you should be talking about the structure during this initial discussion. One of the things that we see is that architects informally work a lot on these proposals without really clearly defining what the relationship is going to be once the contract has been awarded. And so, Marty, can you speak to how you should be thinking about the relationship? What are some of the considerations? And more importantly, I think the audience would like to hear practical implications from your experience about how to go about structuring the relationship.
Sure. And the complexity and size of the project and the type of owner, I would add to that bullet point, are really critical along the way. My experience has been working on $20 to $30 million schools as an integrated design-build entity years ago. When we were in the hospitality industry, our projects, some were upwards of 40 to 50 million. Many of our projects now in the two firms that I manage are smaller than that, are in the $5 to $10 million size. And the difference often is public versus private owners. In many parts of the country, public projects need to be bonded, payment and performance bonds. And if you've never attempted to get a payment or performance bond on a project, it's very eye-opening to understand really how much a contractor needs to have a very strong financial statement, have a very strong company history, and be willing to sign away almost everything they own to get a bonding line of credit. So you may want to go after a $50 million public project, but unless you have a partner that has the ability to bond a $50 million public project, you're not going to be able to put that together. Contractors and architects structure their businesses very differently. Many contractors have equipment. They keep money in their company. They have assets that a bonding company can go after. Design firms typically have few assets that a bonding company can go after. So the ability to bond a project is critical. Most of the projects I go after currently in my companies are private projects that do not require bonding. We do have a bonding line of credits upwards of about $5 million. So if we have a $5 million project, we can go out and bond that, but our preference is not to use that bonding line of credit because I am personally signed and every asset I own against that bonding line of credit if something goes wrong on the project. That's a huge risk for the contractor. So that complexity and size of project is really critical to understand when you're organizing the project. The jurisdiction, which is the next bullet point here, is who's going to run the project. If you're putting together a team between your design firm and a construction entity, who's going to run the show and how is that presented to the owner? Is it the contractor that has 100% of the communications with the owner? Are you involved in some of that along with the contractor? Is it an equal split between design? Do you as the architect take more responsibility during the design phases and the contractor during the construction phases? That's really key when structuring the relationship to understand how the roles are going to work together and who the personalities are relative to structuring the team.